That's moving along. And historical building, we met, we're working with the architect of record, and then the other issue that came up is some potential mold issue that we're gonna meet Carmen out there tomorrow. I need to get some dimensions and some photos for the quotes, and we'll get those quotes for that work. That's it.
Okay, Diane from Clerk's office, anything?
Nope, we're all good, thank you.
Okay, just a quick announcement, we have our new Director of Finance, Mark Sonner, over here. Somebody had a chance to meet Mark, there he is. So he's been working diligently from day one, and yeah, I guess he's a sponge right now, taking everything he can before Pam's departure. Tom, anything from the attorney's office?
Yes.
Okay. John, anything from Highway?
I can just read real quick.
Michelle?
Did you talk about Erie Street?
No, Erie Street water line underway, they're gonna be wrapping up this week for the year. Had some issues with garbage, but we took care of that. Talked to the contractor again today, so he's fully aware of what has to get done. And then I looked this afternoon at the north shoulder, a little bit off the pavement. It looks like it just needs to be rolled so that drainage can get off the shoulder of the road. So that, since they're gonna be out there Friday paving the trench that they've got, I'll have them hit that with a roller. Yeah.
Yeah, on those sides.
So if we hit that shoulder with a roller, I think we'll be good for the winter.
Well, they did pick up a lot of the garbage.
Yeah,
today.
yeah, they said they were going to.
They did.
Yep.
What's that?
Any more from you?
Just literally repairing from the snowplows from a couple weeks ago. Bubblers, stuff like that, backhead drainage. That's really about it this time of year.
And Michelle handed me this emergency repairs that got to be done to the library roof. Apparently, the November snowstorm caused damage up there on the roof, two or three of the vents up there, and there's leaking going down into the library at this point, causing damage. The estimate this individual is calling for, it needs to be done as soon as possible, and we got an estimate of $4,964.19, so I will pass this around. Everybody can take a look at it and see if we want to go ahead and approve it, because it is an emergency, correct?
Correct, it's causing damage, it's leaking down the walls, and rains in the forecast, so I could get a guy there this week, it'd be great. He just gave the estimate today with the pictures today, so there's no time to get it on ahead of time, because it was just happening.
Did anybody submit that to insurance? Or was there any plan to?
I have not.
Storm damage?
Josh just brought that up to me. That was after the FEMA that I had already done. The FEMA paperwork that I did do, I incorporated pretty much everything that we could incorporate at the time. I had Ron Hoffman go around and check all the buildings. He did find a collapsed dugout. That got included, but this, Josh didn't discover it until it melted, so there's no way to see it ahead of time. What we did with FEMA is just like an estimate, so we may be able to add to it. We don't know at this point, correct, Pam? So
No.
we can maybe add it down the road, but not right at the moment.
I'm just wondering if we should, I'm going to get a copy of this eventually. So, well, I just wonder if we shouldn't submit it to Lawley.
It's a possibility, but I thought their deductible's higher than that.
Is it? Okay.
I believe so. I can double check that.
And then there's some gutter damage as well, which we're trying to go back to the person who put that up there, right?
Correct. I am clarifying that the gutter damage is not in that quote, and if it is not in the quote, I've asked them to do it as an option, just so we have it, but I have contacted the previous contractor. I'm just waiting for him to call back so I can give him everything he's got, which hopefully will be tomorrow.
Okay, Chief, anything from you? All right. Guess we'll run through the resolutions. Number 1 and 2 are mine, the minutes and the claims. Number 3 is Councilmember Mazer.
3 is the biweekly, biweekly building applications.
Number 4 is going to be to approve the web portal system for the clerks and building department. Councilman Mazur, number 5.
Number 5 is to amend the resolution that we passed last week for a special use permit to correct language.
Councilman Dickman, number 6.
Number 6 is just the salvage yard license for Ed Henning on Ransom Road.
Okay, and 7, Michelle finally found a cleaner. So, and number 8 is going to be dispatcher we're appointing, and number 9 is going to be clerk typist in the police department.
Can you clarify number 9 with me? We were under the impression she was being hired as a union employee.
I don't think they're not unionized, are they, your people? They are? Yes, they are. Okay, so,
So we don't need an MOA then, right?
I don't know who requested the MOA. Yeah, I'm not sure, that's all the,
Could you look at that? I mean, if we just cross that part out, go ahead and proceed with it?
What, number 9?
that would be
Yeah,
the only
number
reason
9.
why we need an MOA, I think, is if she was not, if it was a non-union position.
Was it posted?
Yeah, it's posted.
Yeah, there's a thing in there, right there. Right.
If I could just interject, she asked for the MOA because she's going from a non-union position into a union position, and she wants to make sure that she's going to keep all the current benefits that she has, her years of service, et cetera. She does realize that the rate of pay is lower, but that's her option to take. But she does want to keep what she's earned in credit as far as vacation time, et cetera. So that's what she was looking for the MOA.
Well, doesn't that carry over? I mean, when Lisa came over to you, did she need an MOA? I guess we have to look at that.
Well, she was confidential discretionary appointment when she came back to the,
Right, but when she went to the police department, did she need an MOA or anything like that, or to keep her, because she went from the attorney's office to your office, then back over to the attorney's office?
Not aware of any MOA.
that predated me, but I'm not aware of it either. She wouldn't have needed it to come back.
Okay, so,
I don't know about going over, because over there she would have been in the union.
Usually the MOAs are only done if you're going into the appointment of a position.
Or we're changing the terms outside the CBA.
so we don't need one then? So she carries her stuff, right? I mean,
As long as she's
Yeah.
going to go over with the same.
yeah,
She's still a full-time town employee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could strike that.
Strike that first resolved.
Is it the first one? Second one?
Second resolved.
Yep. And then Councilmember Mazur, number 10.
Number 10 is to grant, excuse me, a special use permit for a ceiling a home office occupation.
Councilmember Leary, number 11.
Number 11 is to authorize flooring to be fixed right out here in the first floor. The tile's starting to come up, and unfortunately, we have had somebody fall down out there, and it needs to be fixed. We found some money from previous funds that were set up for Town Hall.
12 and 13, Councilmember
Yeah,
Mazur.
12 is to adopt a negative declaration, secret declaration for Angry Buffalo Sports on Worley Drive. And 13 is to adopt a site plan for Angry Buffalo.
All right, I guess we'll see if we're back here at 7. Oh, we do have one suspended resolution, and that is to appoint Mr. Fowler as the town prosecutor, as the current town prosecutor has been elected as judge, and he's no longer allowed to hold this position. So for the time being, we're going to, thankfully, Mr. Fowler stepped up and said that he will take care of it until we find a replacement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We would like copies of this. I'll make copies now. You want a copy?
I'd like to copy this.
You want a copy?
If you want, and then I can just go scan it in and email it to you all if you want it, or not.
Yeah, okay, so,
Thank you.
I parked those out there.
You'll take this, do you want me to also email it to you?
Or I can just email it to you in the morning, whatever. you want to do.
I got plenty of time, I'll just go get this done,
Okay.
and then I'll give you this back. Okay.
Slide over.
No, it's affecting the whole town.
Yeah, but I'm saying, she was asking me, I said, pretty quickly. She asked me, I said, well, tell me.
Town clerk can do, it could, but typically the planning board is what does it, since they want.
On the planning board, we're doing a hard meeting Friday.
Yep.
Or no,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep.
5:30.
5:30?
If
Okay.
you can.
All right, what happens at 6:15?
Niagara Waterkeepers coming in, they're doing a presentation to the planning board.
Okay, so it's 5:30 it starts, because I know somebody wants to be there.
Use zoning change.
No, I was thinking it was 6:15, but I could be there.
Yeah, 5:30 and 6:15. At 6:15, they're doing their thing. I guess the planning board, they get credit, I guess, Neil was gonna ask to get credit for, because they have to keep continuing education things, I guess the planning board does. So they were gonna use it as a training thing.
Yeah, Diane and I worked with the water keepers. This is Jack, but
Agency, use plan.
Todd was at another football game. Got the, I said, you know, I joke.
Nice light.
I said, Kroger's got to be busy, you know. It's for 3 weeks from Christmas. You give, you know, mind your own business or something like that. That's what I said. We had a group text the guys, and I said, next year we're going to try to do the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's always in Indianapolis.
look at the
It's
verbiage.
drivable, you know. So if you really want to go from Buffalo and drive,
I mean, I
you
remember
can fly.
having some conversations.
We'll see.
But like I said, this is legal.
No, I know, I agree. Well, there was,
It's a violation notice for a long
Exactly.
They cut it. So, turn. I don't understand. What do you mean? You gotta click.
I'm surprised he was up. Well, he was going to the game, so.
I've been dealing with court for 3 years. Oh, no, this is y'all. One lot. You're subdividing one lot. It's like,
whatever he's
they
doing.
did it on it. It's like one lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, oh, the water line?
Diane, was Gordy Willis listed?
Yeah, right, I think.
Or put a flag. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I don't know the address.
Yeah. Official acts of administrative nature involving consent
That's right.
That's kind of what I'm, yeah, type 2.
Well, I'm saying that could be their original.
Yeah.
Shall leave us.
It is a type 2. Have a nice day.
She might come in. Yeah.
You're sorry. Sorry. Yeah. You must have known him before you was.
Yeah.
He passed away.
Yeah.
And he's 86. I know, yeah, I know. He was bad. I knew him, I ran with him way back in 96.
Okay. What do you think you're trying to do?
He was on the same ticket as me, too, way back when. But I hadn't seen him in probably, he used to run into him at Tops on the Hill.
I bet you, well, I think I've seen him since the election. Down here. Good idea. Probably last election, but I used to. He wasn't an attorney.
No.
He treated everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something.
Yeah. Is he on the?
Yeah, I just told my intention, but like in the end of the invitation. Between being a police officer and a judge, 49 years.
Come on,
It's a long time.
I mean, it would have been more. Although, in all fairness, I don't think he
Like when it was time to go and see this.
he wanted us to do it.
Yeah, they kind of
It was good for him to take care of himself a little bit. Yeah, I heard that over the weekend. And I think it was today, so that's why you're at.
Yeah, it was like 3 to 7. I couldn't make it. I had a meeting after school about something.
And in all fairness, I didn't know his family. Probably would have recognized
People, yeah, exactly. Yeah. From the colorblind things, yeah. I went to school with his daughter.
Oh, yeah? I don't think I knew any of his family. Unless you want to consider his court.
I think it was two older.
He was 90.
86. He grew up in too, so he
86 means his kids are our age.
Yeah. Yep.
I like him really well. And I remember when he won, it was Judge Wiggins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe it was 10 seconds. I
mean, everybody has a shelf life like that.
They don't even want to do what they got to do.
At almost every job we have.
Yeah.
That we know.
Yep.
It's over there.
So, I got an email today from
Thank you.
Body. Where are some of those plans? Building plan. He's only sent 2 sets. They're going to Waterline and Erie Street. 500 feet down the road from where they are, part of the project, but they're not there yet. We're replacing it.
Shut it off before they turn it up. Is that what it is?
Oh, no, they're not touching the existing line.
Oh, I see.
They don't touch it, yeah, they lay a new line. And that's done, and then they do the cutover. And then they take the old line out, yeah, they don't touch the old line.
Well, they got to charge them both. You do the tax, right?
Well, no, they do is lay the new line, and then test it. Once it's clean, then they're allowed to transfer service.
But at some point, both lines have to be served.
For a short time, yeah, for a short time. Yeah, but in the midst of changing service. You know what the contract is on there? Search it. No.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I asked him, pretty sure. You heard from your neighbor? He goes, nobody said Pete, said you gotta work with him. That's good. That's supposed to happen.
think I intermingled my agenda with some of the paperwork that you had.
I do it twice a week.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we look at as many people against it. We're not going to force anything into their neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
So, I say we go ahead and make a referendum. Let's see how
I agree.
So,
Next year we do cemetery, back, that gets everything pretty much.
Still never reached out to the one that I do check. But that's not going to help.
oh, really?
Yeah. And she was, 2 3 years ago, she was thinking about herself. But again,
Now we got
there's some wetlands.
And I see the actual
I mean, they got,
Nature trail, but Einstein maybe.
I told
they
them,
send us to us every year.
but there's no tackle. So thankfully, I'm not going to Wednesday and just go through all the files and make sure. Most of it is, maybe it's regular streets. I don't want to
Oh, park, yeah.
Without knowing.
Right.
What are you doing here?
There's no meeting on the racetrack. Is that going to be next meeting?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I'll talk to you about it after.
Special use permit would be probably.
Well, they want to switch it from,
Yeah, it was
they
gonna
want
be
to switch it
switched.
from one to the other. We thought it'd be on tonight, but I guess it'll be the next one.
I don't
Maybe,
know anything about it.
Okay.
maybe we should contact Lisa and ask her if we could have another special use permit or a special, public hearing on that.
Yeah, the next one, yeah. And that way the people who want to come and speak on it can come and speak on it.
Do you want to talk to you? Send an email.
Go right ahead. Just CC me on it as well. Yeah, perfect.
We may not have to. Well, you have time for it. Yeah, advertise for public hearing, that would have to have-
Okay.
No.
You.
Dave just gave me another Gordon Willis.
Okay, call the meeting in order. Then would you mind doing a roll call, please?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickon.
Here.
Councilmember Leary.
Here.
Councilmember Mazer.
Here.
Supervisor Rufino.
Here. Councilmember Mazer, would you pledge an invocation?
Yep. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Heavenly Creator, we ask that you may guide this meeting. Please grant the board members the spirit of unity as we listen to others share their points of view. Help us work together on the best solutions for this community, and we have a spirit of teamwork on our shared mission for our town. One more last thing. I'd like to take an opportunity here at the end of this own invocation for a little shout out to a good friend of mine. Judge Gordon Willis of the Village of Depew recently passed away. He was 86 years old. Gordy was a true public servant to this community. He served the Village of Depew Police Department for 25 years, and then he was a judge for another 24, so a total of 49 years to the Depew community. Always remember, Gordy was a great friend, a great public servant, and a man who loved serving his community. Godspeed, old friend. You'll be missed.
Tonight's agenda, we have 13 pre-filed resolutions, 1 suspended resolution, 3 public hearings, 1 executive session. We're closing in memory of the following 6 people: Carolyn Girardi, William Keel, Rita Rater, Dan Santana, William Lower, and Gordon Willis. At this point, I'll let anybody come to the podium to speak on any of the 13 pre-filed or 1 suspended resolution. Just raise your hand and you'll be addressed to come up. Anybody on the pre-filed resolutions? For a second time and a third time? Okay. A couple of minutes for a little public hearing. Any official reports?
Nothing other than
Any
I have a
town
quick-
committee reports?
Yeah, Town Committee. On this Wednesday, December 7th at 5:30, the Planning and Zoning Committee will be meeting to discuss the RV law, again, the storage law. This will be our second meeting. It'll go from 5:30 to about 6:15. At 6:15, the Planning Board has a guest coming in from the Niagara Waterkeeper to give a presentation to the Planning Board. And then at 7 o'clock, the regular planning board will take place.
Okay. Santa at Westwood was another great year for that. It's a well-attended event by many families. There's so much going on there you have the garden club that comes in and they assist with the kids, making ornaments and things of that nature. It's just a great family event. Did they have doing the rides this year? Yeah. Yeah, so they usually do like a little bit of what you want to call like a hay ride and stuff like that. But, again, great event, lots of activities, lots for the kids to do, and they even get to meet Santa. I guess we can go on. I'll do one resolution before we get a couple minutes yet. So I'd like to move resolution number 1. This resolved the minutes of the regular meeting, town board held on November 21st, 2022, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2, and this resolved the following audit claims being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of town clerk by the assistant to the supervisor. It's check run number 12052022. Total amount to be paid is $2,883,714. $714.49. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Okay, we're going to break for our public hearings. We have, as I said, we have 3 of them. And can I have a motion to open the first public hearing?
Motion to open the public hearing?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York and Chapter 23 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted November 21st, 2022, the said Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 5th day of December, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. local time at 21 Central Avenue here at Town Hall, for the purposes of considering and possibly adopting a local law to amend the Town of Lancaster Town Code by repealing the current Chapter 140 Construction Codes Uniform in its entirety and replacing it with a newly revised Chapter 140 Code Enforcement Program in order to comply with New York State requirements. Copies of the proposed local law can be viewed at Lancaster Town Hall during normal business hours and on the town's website. So at this point, I'll ask anybody in the audience that'd like to speak about public hearing number 1. I'll ask for a second time and a third. Can I have a motion to close public hearing number 1?
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried.
Can I have a motion to open public hearing number 2?
Motion open.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York and Chapter 23 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted November 21st, 2022, the said Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 5th day of December 2022 at 7:05 p.m. local time at 21 Central Avenue, for the purpose of considering and possibly adopting a local law to amend the Town of Lancaster Town Code by repealing the current Chapter 258, permit and application fees, in its entirety and replacing it with the revised Chapter 258, permit and application fees, in order to comply with New York State standards. Copies of the proposed local law can be viewed at Lancaster's Town Hall during normal business hours and on the town's website. Anybody like to speak about public hearing number 2? And I'll ask for a second time and a third time. Have a motion to close public hearing number 2.
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Have a motion to open public hearing number 3.
Motion to open public hearing number 3.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Chapter 400, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and the Town Law of the State of New York, and pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on the 21st day of November 2022, the Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 5th day of December, 7:05 p.m., local time at 21 Central Avenue, to hear all interested persons upon the application of Keith A. Wilkinson for a special use permit to store recreational vehicles on premises locally known as 10 Lancaster Parkway, Lancaster, New York, County of Erie, State of New York. Anybody like to speak on this?
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, board members. I'm Jeff Palumbo. I'm the attorney for Mr. Wilkinson. We've submitted the application for the special use permit for the storage of vehicles at 10 Lancaster Parkway. The letter that I submitted on Mr. Wilkinson's behalf covered all the questions that the town board has requested that we respond to. I would only point out that the property is currently zoned industrial, and we will not be having a negative impact on any of the other industrial users of the parkway itself. No storage of chemicals or other toxic materials on the property, so there won't be any hazard to any of the adjacent property owners. And we will certainly not be altering the essential character of the neighborhood by storing the vehicles on site. We did submit a site plan that indicates the storage of the vehicles themselves, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Town board members, anything? Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Palumbo.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on this public hearing? I'll ask for a second time and a third time. I have a motion to close public hearing number 3.
Motion to close number 3?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, we're going to carry on. We left off at number 3, which is Councilmember Mazur.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, and all town board, off the following resolution, move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications be it and hereby reaffirmed. There's a total of 17 in the town and 2 in the village. I'll go through them quickly. 1 fence, 1 roof, 5 generators, 1 shed, 3 decks, 1 sign, 2 residential alterations, 1 commercial alteration, 1 cell tower alteration, 1 fireplace. And in the village, there was 1 roof and 1 dumpster. Now therefore, it be it resolved that the building permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver being hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 4. In this resolve, the town board of town of Lancaster hereby approves the request made by the town clerk on behalf of her department and the building and zoning department to purchase the Edmunds IPS web portal system that would allow contractors to initiate, submit, and track requests for permits online. And be it further resolved, the town clerk is authorized to execute the sales order, that's order number 00004398, submitted by Edmunds Government Tech Inc., dated November 23, 2022, for an amount not to exceed $2,800, and which would be paid for with funds from the town's 2022 safety inspection contractual expenses, contractual services budget line item. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, number 5, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, off the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas by resolution adopted on November 21st, 2022, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster granted the special use permit to Fred Donato on behalf of Donato Homes Incorporated to operate a 13-unit storage building on the premises located at 5841 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster, New York, for the period of November 21st, 2022 through November 20th, 2024. And whereas by mail dated November 28th, 2022, Code Enforcement Officer has recommended amending the special use permit approval to adequately reflect the approved site plan by clarifying the allowed usage with the permit, which reads as follows. For the proposed construction of 14 buildings with 255 rental units, including the rental office, which will operate as a public storage facility. And whereas the town board has given due consideration to the request made by Matthew Fashone to amend the special use permit granted to Fred Donato of Donato Homes Incorporated to specify the use allowed by the permit and has determined that it is in the best interest of the community to make the clarification. Now therefore it be it resolved that the resolution adopted on November 21st, 2022 by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster granting a special use permit to Fred Donato of Donato Homes is hereby amended to read as follows. Pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 6, Industrial Districts, 400-20, Light Industrial District, of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a special use permit to Fred Donato on behalf of Donato Homes Incorporated for the operation of a public storage facility composed of 14 buildings with 255 rental units and the rental office on premises located known as 5841 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster, upon the conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period November 21st, 2022 through November 20th, 2024. And two, the applicant will continue to, in compliance with conditions set forth in Section 400-20 Light Industrial District, 400-22 supplementary regulations for Light LI District, and Section 400-78 special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and to any additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed above on the premises, namely, A, permit must be renewed every 2 years at no additional cost to the applicant. B, storage shall be solely inside the facility. There should be no outside storage of any vehicles, materials, equipment, or containers of any type. And C, applicant will provide a copy of the business's New York State Federal Tax Employer Identification Number, and when applicable, a license from the appropriate regulatory agency for the service being provided.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 6, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 6 for adoption. Whereas Alfreda Hanashevsky, doing business as Ed Henning Incorporation at 911 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, has applied for a renewal license to conduct a salvage yard on the premise situated at 911 Ransom Road in the Town of Lancaster. Whereas the applicant was referred to the Town Board for review, and whereas the building inspector by letter dated November 29, 2022 has notified the Town Board that he has completed his review and made a favorable recommendation thereto. Now therefore be it resolved that Alfreda Hanashevsky, DBA Ed Henning Incorporated, 911 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, B, is hereby authorized to conduct a salvage yard on the premise situated at 911 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, for the period of January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023, in strict conformance with the application of the petitioner as filed in the office of the town clerk.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 7. Be it resolved that the following individuals hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent position in the Town of Lancaster Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, and that this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. The person's name is Sandra Neville of Lancaster. The position is a cleaner. The rate is $15.92 per hour, and effective date is December 6th, 2022. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Is Sandra in the audience? Okay. I always like to ask the new employees if they're here. Okay, I'd like to move resolution number 8, and this resolved that Stephen Rosler of Lancaster, New York, being is hereby appointed to the full-time position of Public Safety Dispatcher in the Town of Lancaster's Police Department at an annual salary of $46,163 on step, which represents 75% of the full salary of $61,550, contingent upon approval by Erie County Department of Personnel effective January 1st, 2023, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Lancaster Dispatch Employee Association and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes, and Stephen in the audience. Okay, I'd like to move resolution number 9. And now therefore be resolved that Lisa Zajac of Lancaster, New York, be it is hereby appointed to full-time position of clerk typist in the Lancaster Police Department effective December 19, 2022, contingent upon approval by Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA White Collar Union and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved, the Town Board hereby approves as presented, oh, no, sorry, strike that. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, and I don't think Lisa's here as well. Okay, so number 10, Councilmember Mazur?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas on November 21st, 2022, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster held a public hearing pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 78, Special Use Permits of the Code of Town of Lancaster upon the application of Jeffrey S. Kursitz for a special use permit for home occupation for the premises located at 16 Birchwood Common, Lancaster, New York. And whereas the persons for and against such special use permit had an opportunity to be heard, and whereas Code Enforcement Officer Matt Fischone has inspected the property and found it to be in conformance with the home occupation section of the Town Code of Special Use Permit, per his letter dated October 13, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that, 1, pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, subsection 400-16F entitled Home Occupations of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a special use permit to Jeffrey S. Kursitz for a home occupation for the premises located at 16 Birchwood Common, Lancaster, New York, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning December 5th, 2022 and ending December 4th, 2024. And 2, that the applicant will continue to in compliance with the conditions set forth in Section 400-16F and Section 400-78 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster for as long as he continues to engage in home occupation on the premises, namely, A, only persons residing in the premise shall be engaged in such occupation. B, there shall be no other changes in the outside appearance of the building or premises or other visible evidence of the conduct of such home occupation. C, applicant will be obtained and provide at each renewal a copy of the business's New York State tax identification number and/or federal employer identification number. And D, special use permit must be renewed every 2 years at no additional cost to the applicant.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Leary, number 11, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the flooring in the town hall is old and damaged and has become a safety hazard for the town employees and general public and needs to be replaced, and whereas the flooring with installation and disposal is available from New York State contract number PC 69410, Group 2600, and award number PGB 23200 through state contractor Mohawk Carpet Distribution Incorporated from authorized retail Western New York Tile, retailer Western New York Tile and Stone Corporation in the amount of $14,469.58 per their quote dated November 7th, 2022, which eliminates the need for competitive bidding pursuant to Section 103 of General Municipal Law. Whereas there is funding still available from Capital Project 165, therefore there will be no budgetary impact on the 2022 town budget. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby accepts and authorizes the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster to sign the flooring proposal for the Town Hall with Western New York Tile and Stone Corp. Located on Division Street in North Tonawanda, authorized retailer under New York State contract PC 69410, award number PGB 23200, through state contractor Mohawk Carpet Distribution Incorporated, in accordance with their proposal dated November 7, 2022, and the amount not to exceed $14,469.58, which will be paid for with funds available from the town's Capital Project 165.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules to present the suspended resolution?
We still have two
So
other,
it's
Wait, two more.
number 12 and 13.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Poorly numbered.
Councilmember Mazur, number 12 and 13.
Sure.
I jumped right to mine.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the amended site plan application submitted by Joseph David for the property located at 2753 Worley Drive for the proposed construction of a 33,600 square foot sports arena, primarily for flag football with sports courts, restrooms, and other site improvements within the Town of Lancaster. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on November 16, 2022, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the construction project using the short environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in the seeker, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasonable elaboration of the basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled an unlisted action under seeker. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, that number one, this proposed project described as demolition of an existing poly greenhouse and construction of a 33,600 square foot sports arena primarily for flag football and sports course, restrooms, and other site improvements located on the existing site on a 8.82 acre parcel at 2753 Worley Drive will not result in any large or important impacts, and it is an action which will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached negative declaration of the environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare the file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
And resolution number 13 goes along with this last one. Whereas Joseph David of the Angry Buffalo Sports Arena has submitted an amended site plan application which consisted of topographical survey prepared by land design surveyors and planners and other drawings prepared by Metzger Civil Engineering and revised drawings prepared by James Allen Rumsey Architect and F.J. Wayland Associates Incorporated and received September 27, 2022 for the construction of a 33,600 square foot sports arena primarily for flag football and sports courts, restrooms, and other site improvements to be located at 2753 Worley Drive in the town of Lancaster. And whereas the site plan for this project was submitted to the planning board and was recommended for approval at their November 16, 2022 meeting, and whereas the planning board completed an environmental review November 16, 2022 in conformance with seeker, and the town board, acting as lead agency, issued a negative declaration December 5th, 2022. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the amended site plan submitted by Joseph David of the Angry Buffalo Sports Arena for the construction of a 33,600 square foot sports arena primarily for flag football with sports courts, restrooms, and other site improvements to be located at 2753 Worley Drive in the town of Lancaster with the following conditions. Number 1, contractor to provide an as-built survey to the building department prior to a certificate of compliance and/or occupancy being issued. And 2, private improvement permits will be required to initiate site construction.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Now I have a motion to suspend the rules to present number 14.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'd like to move resolution number 14, resolve that Thomas E. Fowler Jr. be and hereby appointed as town prosecutor of the town of Lancaster effective December 5th, 2022, and be it further resolved that Mr. Fowler shall be compensated an annual salary rate of $13,795 for the fiscal year while serving as town prosecutor. Be it further resolved that no provisions of A, the collective negotiations agreement between the town and the CSEA White Collar Union, B, the personnel rules for employees in the service of the town of Lancaster, or C, any other previously adopted policy or rule establishing compensation and/or benefits for the town officers and employees shall be deemed to apply to the town attorney. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall become effective upon adoption and shall supersede all previous resolutions of this board. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Temporary. Okay. When you're ready, let me know, and we'll move on to communications.
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to move on to our communications. Number 775 through 780, received and filed. Number 781 is code enforcement and full resolution. Number 782 is received and filed. Number 783 is planning committee. 784 is received and filed. 785, planning committee. 786 through 789, received and filed. 790 is code enforcement. 795, received and filed. 792 and 793 is planning committee. 794, received and filed. 795 and 796 are for resolution. 797 is resolution tonight. 798 through 801, received and filed. 802, resolution tonight. 803 and 804, received and filed. 805, resolution tonight. 806, received and filed. 807, resolution tonight. And then 808 through 811, received and filed. At this point, we'll let people comment to the town board on any subject matter. Please keep in mind you have a 5-minute limit, which Mr. Burkhart will be keeping track of, and will whistle you down when your time is up. So I'll acknowledge it. If you are, raise your hand, I'll select you. You'll come and give your name and address at the podium, so the town clerk could properly record it. So I'll look for a show of hands. Yes, ma'am, you're first.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Veely, and I am a resident of Partridge Walk. And I am here with several of my neighbors, and I'm just going to ask for my neighbors in the area of Partridge Walk just to raise your hand. We wanted to speak to you tonight quickly to let you know as soon as possible that we are opposed to the idea of building a park on Partridge Walk. To show how seriously opposed we are, we've created a petition on change.org that has already received over 220 signatures, and we also walked door to door and have received over 66 paper signatures to show our opposition. And I'm going to give you copies.
Can you put your, what was your address, ma'am?
39 Partridge.
39.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't have copies.
Thank you.
The area that is being considered is landlocked by 38 homes along Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow Crossing, and Aurora Street. Building a park in this area would be placing a park literally in all of their backyards. This would eliminate their privacy and security that they currently experience. On a personal note, 3 years ago I moved to Lancaster from the city of Buffalo. And in the last 3 years, I have experienced more vandalism and security issues than I ever did anywhere else that I've lived. I've already been vandalized twice, and my dog has been injured. With the addition of 90 new homes in the development on Partridge Walk and Hidden Meadow, a significant amount of green space was eliminated. Much of the wildlife that has been disrupted has found a home in the small area that you are considering. Wildlife such as deer, rabbits, fox, birds, bats, fireflies, hawks, the list goes on. Destroying a green space to build a park does not seem like a solution to us. It is also our understanding that 2 access roads are under consideration. The first to exit on Aurora, As we all know, Aurora Street is a narrow, fast, busy street without sidewalks. Building a park entrance that may attract children, let alone any pedestrian, to walk along Aurora Street or cross it is very dangerous. We have already lost lives on Aurora Street, and we do not want to lose any more. The second access road we believe is under consideration is Partridge Walk. This road would be between two homes and is a small, narrow, tree-lined space, which would mean more green space would be lost to pave an access road, and the access road would be extremely close to these two homes. It can already be a challenge to park on Partridge Walk, and if an access is built for a park without parking, the overflow will significantly disrupt an area that's already a very busy residential area. Traffic has increased fourfold with the new development. We are not opposed to more parks in Lancaster or the surrounding area. In fact, we believe we have some amazing parks, and we all use them often. But we don't believe Partridge Walk should be a viable option. So I'm going to keep my comments short because I know there's other neighbors that would like to speak. And we ask that you stop, our ask tonight is that you stop any consideration of building a park on Partridge Walk. Thank you for your time and consideration. And I'm going to turn it over to some other neighbors.
Can we use your easel?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's an upgrade over what I bought. Buy one, get one free at office. My name is Mike Leonard. I live at 36 Partridge Walk. I live right across the kitty corner from Elizabeth. She actually lives on the new Partridge Walk. So I'm here tonight to not yell and scream, but to tell in a logical manner why it's just not a good idea to put a park in our neighborhood. And the fact that we got almost 70 signatures in 3 days will tell you we're a true neighborhood. So I don't know how familiar the board is with our area, so I labeled this map the best I could. This is Aurora Street. This is the new development, Hidden Meadow Crossing. This is Partridge Walk. This is Old Post. So the area that we're talking about is right in the middle. So one of the problems, which I know some of you are aware, this is Hidden Meadow Crossing. This is Aurora Street. If you live on Hidden Meadow Crossing, there's no access. There is a temporary access road. I know, Mr. Rufino, you're aware of that. You have to drive all the way down Hidden Meadow, all the way down Partridge Walk, take a right on Old Post to get out of here. That is 3/4 of a mile. So, and it's not the people who live in Hidden Meadow, they don't want to do that, but they don't have any way out. So this creates so much traffic in front of our homes, like Elizabeth mentioned. Phase 2, which is right here, they all take Partridge Walk. Phase 3, it is connected to Running Brook. Some of those people go that way, some of those people go down Squirrel Run. But there is so much traffic going down Partridge Walk. So the other thing I want to point out is no matter where you put the park, north, south, east, west, it's in someone's backyard. Like here's the people on Hidden Meadow. They have a nice swimming pool. They have a wooden swing set. No one wants to be in their swimming pool with their kids and a bunch of strangers are checking them out, right? They just don't. And then you have the safety factor of, my daughters grew up on Partridge Walk. I could let them go and play. I keep an eye on them, but you're going to have to be closely supervised if you've got strangers in the park that you're walking with. The other point is, you can see the Buckeye pipeline. I labeled it. Mr. Schiller, you're familiar with that. So the Buckeye pipeline cuts right through the proposed park. It's almost all wooded. These trees were taken down when they put a ditch behind us, which, that's a different fight. That's a story for another day. They're not covering. So Buckeye pipeline is cleared out because they have to keep it clear. No matter where you put the park, it's going to be in someone's backyard. It's just, there's just not enough room. So I want to contrast that with my second picture, just so you can see how small it is. This is right across the street from us. This is thank you, Vanna. This is right across the street from us. This is Aurora Street. And I think someone just told me that this is wetlands, which is fine, but if you can see, and this is William Street, this is Como Park, the park. This is Aurora Street, this is Old Post. So it's right across the street. It's just And I know you don't own that land, but I think, Mr. Dickman, you said that you were in favor of the town buying more green space, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I voted for you, okay? I don't even care what political party you are, I don't even remember. But, so, one of my questions is, do we have a plan? Are we buying more green space? This is a farmer's land, this is a wetlands, I guess, but just, you know, instead of destroying the green land that we have, I have no idea how much space we have. I think that's great, but I think we should be buying more green space. This is a lot, this is like, I don't know, the picture can't even cover all the green space. William Street's here, William Street School is up here, Como Park's up here. I know someone mentioned a plan about possibly leasing from William Street, but I guess they're not interested. That's what I heard in November, so.
That's
okay, so that's, I just want to contrast, that's a lot of green space. Our yards, everything back, it's, no matter where you put the park, it's going to be behind our backyards. Okay, the third point is, I think one of my neighbors, Tom, when I was here in November, he asked Mr. Schiller about, well, where are we going to park? We have, I showed you, we have a huge traffic problem on Partridge Walk. So where are we going to park? There's no access points. Mr. Schiller said, nope, there is an access point. There's 38 Partridge Walk, there's 40 Partridge Walk. My neighbor Ted is here from 38 Partridge Walk. How can anyone think that's an access point? Those are trees. I mean, and this, if you saw this during the spring or summer, it's even fuller. These are trees without leaves on them. So this is 38 Partridge Walk, this is 40 Partridge Walk. There's not enough space, there's drainage here, I think there's a gas main. So this is not an access point. And when the comment was made, we don't want cars parking on Partridge Walk, additional ones, this was offered up as an access road. Don't worry about cars parking, because they're going to go by your house. We're going to have cars parked in their backyard. I've never heard of that before. I mean, Lancaster's not the city of Buffalo. I've lived on the south end of Lancaster for over 25 years. In my neighborhood, when my daughters grew up, we had enough space. They had a trampoline. They had the wooden playset. They had an above-ground swimming pool. I have a basketball hoop. That's what most of us have. If you live on the southern end of Lancaster, that's what we have. Like Elizabeth said, we're not against park, but our neighborhood, we don't want a neighborhood park because our kids safely play in their backyards. They have what they need. The kids are not like destitute in any way. And this as an access point, how can anyone stand in front of there and say, that's an access point? That's a woods. So my last thing, I'll wrap up. I know Mr. Burkhardt is a time Nazi.
Well, I let you go over. So you were over last time. So just say, I know. You were doing good. I was just letting you go.
Okay, so this is my favorite picture. All right, I'm going to show it to the studio audience. This is behind my house. So this is what we have. This is a lot of people. If you live on Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow, or Roy Street, this is what we have in our backyard. I didn't label it. I was going to label it deer, but my wife made fun of me. She said people would think I was kind of weird. So we have deer back here. We have a random pumpkin that I threw in there. We have trees. It's beautiful back there. We have grass that I planted. Most of us, we mow behind our yards. We know that it's town land, but we've actually improved it. Myself, my neighbor Ted, as you know, a bunch of the ash trees have died. We put new pine trees there because trees absorb water, so that helps green. So this is why I'm here for the second time. We're passionate about this. We don't want to lose this. Why would anyone want to lose this? We like privacy in our backyards. We like peace and quiet. My wife works at the Erie County Correctional Facility. She's a CO. She works nights. So she sleeps during the day. She doesn't want noise. She doesn't want someone on a basketball court blasting music. She wants to sleep. Her job is stressful enough without the noise in the backyard. So that's all I have to say. Mr. Burkhardt, I owe you 3 minutes of your life, I guess.
No, all good. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anybody else like to speak?
Can you get the easel?
Sure. Hi, my name is James Kern. I'm a resident of 30 Partridge Walk, Lancaster, New York. I oppose the park behind Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow Crossing, Aurora Street, for all those reasons. And one thing I must say, I did meet a lot of nice people when we found out about this, walking the streets of Aurora and all the other streets. Everybody shared their stories, and safety was a big issue. of, we're not against children playing, but unfortunately, sometimes children, and I'm retired law enforcement, when they get a little older in their teens, when they're not supervised, they have to call us. The neighbors call us, and we use the resources of Lancaster Police because they're doing things that the park is not intended for. Also, the wildlife. I had a resident on Aurora Street bring me the back and wanted to show me the deer were actually bedding back there. And to take away all these trees and the area, Transit Road is already being, it's a commercial strip. We understand they're going to develop Transit Road, but all those bedding areas are being taken away. This is a bedding area in a residential neighborhood that at least some of the wildlife have. Another thing was the sidewalk, no sidewalks, which were mentioned earlier. Anybody to get from the east side of Aurora Street to this park, it's so dangerous, and there's no sidewalks. It's a county road, so is the county going to agree to improve Aurora Street and put sidewalks? Because there's drainage ditches, just like they're doing on William Street, but I don't see in the near future the Erie County saying, oh yeah, we'll improve Aurora Street from William to the town line, so this park will be safe for any pedestrians that either cross or go north and south from it. Lastly, I met another nice residents, and I would like them to be next, if it's okay, and I'll take the podium, that they reside at 631 Aurora Street, and their name is, Mark and Nancy Hyduke. So if I could sit down, if they would be able to speak after me, because I want them to explain their situation, not through my words.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mark Hyduke. My wife Nancy's here. I reside at 631 Aurora, which would be the north side of the proposed Aurora Street access to the park. I've spoke to the board once before on this issue when Hidden Meadows development was going in. They wanted to put a construction road in that same location. It was a bad idea. It wasn't followed up on then, and I applaud that action. And I would like to say that nothing has changed. All the reasons that it wasn't used before are still in place. The infrastructure that's at the road, there's some cable and fiber optic lines that are going through there. Traffic, I've been retired from the military for 7 years now, so I spend a lot of time home and around the yards. Traffic is horrendous. It's little transit. I mean, it's a big cutoff. Everybody that knows the route, they use that, and at times you can't even get out of the yard. So traffic control to a proposed road would be problematic at the best. And secondly, like I said, I'm opposing the park for all the reasons that were already stated. I won't restate. But my brother Tom was killed on that road on the 2nd of November in 2008, and he was a pedestrian. 5:15 in the evening, he was walking from his house on Aurora at that time down the Running Brook, and a drunk driver that was coming home from the Bills game killed him. Nothing has changed. There's no sidewalks. There's a little bit of lighting that's there. That's for the evening time. But even during the daytime, there's times in the morning, lunchtime, evening time, that the traffic is very bad. And again, this goes with the property that's there now with infrastructure issues. Nothing's changed. And again, I voice my opposition to that, and thanks for listening.
Thank you for your comments, sir, and thank you for your service.
My name is Vasil Dharmagrai. I live at 643 Aurora Street. I don't have any props. I may not have as good of reasons as some of these other folks, but I live not too far away from you, just a few houses down. My main reason is I bought this home 15 years ago, but one of the main reasons is that there were no neighbors in the back. So there's a reason for not having them now. Nothing's changed from that perspective either. One thing I like to state is I originally come from the country of Ukraine, and many of you might know that right now my country is fighting against Russian aggression. What does it have to do with this? Well, if this country values what it stands for, which is its citizens' rights to their property, and our property is our castle, right? So there was a reason why we acquired their property and why we stay there. We'd like to remain that way. So that's all I have to say. So I oppose that as well, for all the other reasons as well. Thank you.
I think we have enough speakers on that. I'd just like to commend this group for, first of all, coming in and then keeping this is very personal. I understand that. It's upsetting. I try to sit in your places when something comes up like this. I wouldn't be happy either. So I commend you for being professional, stating your points and your facts. And hopefully, the town board could have some say in this as we move down. But again, thank you very much for keeping your comments brief, to the point, and very professional. I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Good evening. My fellow residents have been very eloquent with their comments, so I'll keep mine brief. My name is Edward Guillen. I reside at 27 Hidden Meadow Crossing. Regarding the proposed development of a park in the Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow, Aurora Street area, this would be directly behind my house, and I'm opposed to it. I moved to Lancaster from a neighboring town less than 5 years ago, and one of the reasons I selected my lot was because of the green space behind it. It's quiet, peaceful, and I want it to stay that way. Town board is listening to people who want more parks in town, and rightfully so. But most importantly now, you have to listen to the citizens who this will directly affect, the residents of Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow, and Aurora Street. I also have a long, extensive career in law enforcement. You have to realize that these parks will attract more than just little kids to a swing set. They may also attract others who might gather with beer or drugs, or be loud after hours, or other activities that will disrupt our area. You need to be careful where you put these neighborhood parks. Parking and traffic will also be an issue for our area. Those using the park will not always walk to the access pathway. They will park on Partridge Walk, Hidden Meadow, or Aurora Street, and some most likely will use our yards as a cut-through. This will definitely be a problem. For those as well as other reasons, I object to the proposed park in this location. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Hi, I'm Dave Locke from 22 Partridge Walk. I know that you don't need any additional comments, but I want to put it mathematically. There's approximately 38 square miles of Lancaster. There's about 1,040 people per mile. I directly oppose this. I know that it's been talked before about this, so if it does become not happening, I'd like to have a permanent resolution so it's never discussed, because it seems like it's always what can we do to develop this. With almost 38 square miles, is there not a better place to put a park? I'm not opposed to a park, but 38 square miles of Lancaster, and we're going to upset half or three-quarters of the people that are here if we try to shoehorn it in. Again, I'm going to keep this brief. I want to do it mathematically, and I just want to make sure that people in Lancaster here know that there are options. We don't have to shoehorn this in anything, and I'm sure that in certain other green spaces, if there was a park, maybe developers would build around the park. Making it an attraction to have developers find that. A good example is Westwood Park. Unbelievable, gorgeous park in Lancaster. I'm sure that people can even walk or park safely there with enough traffic, with enough traffic lanes, parking, etc. That's a park. Shoehorning it in Partridge Walk in Lancaster, I am definitely not in favor. So I just want to leave it as that, put the math behind it. I'm sure there's other spots in Lancaster this could be in. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name's Ted Ulanowitz, 38 Partridge Walk. I moved to the town from the village in 2016. Mr. Rufino, you've been at my house on the side there at 38. You saw the drainage ditches. the work I did on that side because, you know, I'm the old and you have the new. And the old was all nice farm green, and I've kept it up. I had a couple pine trees. I did a lot of work on that side there. I only have 35 feet left, and if you guys propose a walking path through there, I just can't see a family of four with pets coming right on the side of me. And hi, Ted. I don't want that to happen. I mean, I'm friendly with everybody. I'm not in favor of anything coming along the side there. And my neighbor, Mike Leonard, we do a lot of work back there. I put a lot of money in getting the ash trees cut my own, and I'm building it up to look nice. And that's all I have to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir?
With due respect, would you mind if I stay seated? As you know, Paul Naskus Jr., 31 Newell Avenue in the village of Lancaster. Months ago, I was here to appear about that safety issue that they've been bringing up about Aurora Street. I did contact, as you said, supervisor, the Erie County. They said because I don't live in that area, that it should be someone else in that area that needs to go around house by house and get where the sidewalks need to be put in that area. And that was, I was told by the county. Knowing that from the village line on Aurora Street to that whole, the impact of all those subdivisions, but seeing that, as you know, that I brought up the children, adults, the bicyclists that run these marathons and all that going through there, and this gentleman that lost that was senseless, that there was only sidewalks. How many people that live in Lancaster, children and adults and bicycle riders, is it going to take before sidewalks are put in that area? The county needs to come to the ballpark and hit a home run and get sidewalks in that area. What will it cost? Just like Pleasant View with the bicyclists that got hit, two of them that got hit by a drunk driver, lost their life. It's senseless not to think anymore. You want to have subdivisions in an area, but Aurora Street, a main route like that, and put people's lives in danger. That's just whatever you want to call it. And then listen to this. The park, just like the Fireman's Park in the village, we have a beautiful lean-to there. And it had to be taken down because of that situation with kids. I called the village Department of Public Works, and I found out why they took it down. And it was all about the police were being called to just that beautiful lean-to. This will, without using your imagination, our police department in the Lancaster is undermanned. It's been undermanned since the village police department got dissolved. And there's no one has taken a study now. While all these businesses have been approved, all these subdivisions, and you want the police department to cover that park. We only have one police officer that covers the whole village. One. And you know what most of the time, that patrol person's got to do, either go to Walmart, or he's called over to Motel 6. We all know those are major police calls at nighttime. So to put more stress on our police department, it's already stressed out. We really need to look at the surrounding, what's happening, and the crime that's in this town like never before. We all know about it. So either or, we really got to do that type of study too, the police department. And I will be back for that.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Yes?
My name is Carol Gasper. I live at 28 Partridge Walk.
I agree with everything that everyone has said before this point. We have lived on Partridge Walk for over 30 years now. Obviously, excuse me, I'm a senior, and most of my immediate neighbors are seniors also. This park literally will be on top of our backyards. Many of our houses do not even have fencing or anything else like that. You put a park in there, that then will put the burden on fixed income senior citizens to put fencing, to try to protect the backyard. Like he showed you the picture of the deer. My husband and I love to sit in the backyard and watch the deer playing in the backyard. It's not the same. When you put a park in, idealistically, yes, it would be great for the kids and everything like that, but that's not all that will take place. You know from the problems you've had in other parks, we would have the teenagers hanging there. There was a comment that they put a basketball court in there. They're going to be playing at all kinds of hours. There's no way that they're going to go all the way down to get out the entranceway that supposedly is under consideration. They're going to try cutting through all our yards. Partridge Walk only has parking on one side of the street. Partridge Walk is also a windy street. So you're going to have people drinking back there, then they're going to be driving, and like they said too, the flow has gone so much more since they've opened that development. How much more traffic? We were a dead end for the first, 20 years we lived there. How much traffic goes by the house now? So they're not going to park in there. They're going to all park in Partridge Walk. It doesn't matter what the rules are. People aren't going to listen to the rules. They're going to park wherever they want to park, cut through the backyards. You're going to have all these people coming. You're going to have not only, like I said, the vandalism, they're going to have access to your houses where they can see everything going on. Like the one lady first said, the thievery and the theft that you're going to have more, because it's going to be an open area for everyone to see what's going on in their backyards, to see everything going on. This was proposed to put a park in there 30-something years ago, and everyone on Partridge Walk voted it down then. And like the gentleman before me had said, they need to put a permanent thing that every so many years we don't have to go through this again. My kids grew up there. Like the one gentleman said too, for the people on the new roads, they have to go 3/4 of a mile to be able to get out of where you want to put this park. Como Park is what? Not even a mile away from our house? That's where we used to go all the time. It's a beautiful park. It's huge. There's no reason it has to be in that landlocked area where you're going to take the green space. It's over the pipeline. When's the last time anybody did any kind of survey about if there's any leakage in that or anything else like that that's back there? I can't express enough how much the people do not want this. I have not spoke to one person who is even like, No, everybody is fervently against it. And this is a lot of people. This isn't one or two people. We're talking, this is hundreds of people by the time you figure out everyone involved. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? I'll ask for a second time and a third time. Again, I'd like to thank this group, again, for keeping your calm and your cool. I know something like this can be very upsetting, and from personal experience, I wouldn't want that either, so thank you again. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session regarding number 2 for Parks and Recreation, something with Parks and Recreation.
Motion to go into executive session?
Can I have a second? Second. On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.